Okay, now that we have our box made and our dormer finished on the top, what we're going to do is show you how to put the moldings on the sides. Now you can see that I've got a few of these put on so that you can see what we're talking about when we say the molding. This covers up this unsightly joint right here that we have when we nail the boxes together. Okay, the tape is on there so that we don't have to have any nails showing on the front. So I'll show you how we do that. Okay, your first step is going to be to get a piece of material like this. This is about 1/8 of an inch thick by 3/4 of an inch wide. Okay, and you're going to need one of these razor saws. And the reason they call it a razor saw is because the blade is very, very thin. It has little teeth on it, and it cuts very, very accurate cuts. Also going to use this little miter box right here that will allow you to hold your angles. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece, and the very first thing you're going to do is set that piece on its edge against the back of the miter box. Now the miter box has a little lip on the front of it, and it'll be helpful to you probably to clamp that little lip, stick that lip down in the vise, okay, and just lock that into place. Then you take that and you stick that edge on that piece of wood on its edge, and this has a couple of different angles. It has two 45-degree angles, and it has one 90-degree angle for cutting perpendicular to the box itself. We're going to set that in there, and we're going to cut, making sure we have the good side of the wood, that is the side you want to see out. And we're just barely going to cut the top of that little piece off. Okay? Now the trick to using the saw is to make sure you're pulling straight back and forth and that you don't let the blade escape out of those little cuts in the box. Okay? Once you have that done and you've cut all the way through, you'll get a little 45-degree angle on the end of this. That will fit nicely up underneath the lip of the house. Okay? You stick that piece up there, making sure to go as tight as you can up there, and then look and make sure that this edge right here is nice and flush. Okay? Once that's flush and smooth, you don't want it to hang over and you don't want it to sit back this way, because the second piece we're going to put on has to go right up against it. You're going to take your pencil and you're just going to draw a little line against the bottom of the birdhouse to mark where you're going to cut that off. Okay? Once you're done with that marking, you set that back, this time flat, in the miter box, and cut that off. You don't want to cut these pieces too long. If you cut them too long, then you'll have to sand them off so they don't stick out past the bottom corner of the birdhouse. Okay? So, we now take this piece and we slide that right up in there, making sure it doesn't stick out below, and then lining it up on the side. That looks like it's going to fit pretty good. Covers this entire end grain joint. Okay, now we're just going to take a little bit of glue, put that on the back of that molding piece, and gently slide that up in place. Now be careful not to start way back over here and have to slide your wood this way, because it'll leave a glue smear there, and you don't want that. So slide it over until it's perfectly flush with the edge of the birdhouse. Then all you're going to do is take two pieces of masking tape about 3 or 4 inches long, and very carefully push down on the molding and wrap the tape around the side, and then push this down snug to hold that in place while the glue dries. Okay, this way you won't have to shoot any nails in there. Okay, so you pull it down. If you pull down and you tear the tape across the corner, you know you pulled a little bit too hard on it. Okay? Now, we have all 4 of these. Notice this is the front and the back. Those pieces were done first. Now we're going to go to doing the sides. Okay? And since I did that last corner for you, I can go ahead and take this tape off now, because this glue should be dry enough that I can do this front corner to show you how to do the end piece. Okay? Now we need to do the piece that covers these nail holes right in here. Alright, here's what we're going to do. Turn my camera up just a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Okay? What we're going to do is use the same method that we did for cutting the angles on our dormers. Okay? We're going to take our piece of wood, and in this case, we're going to do it. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to do it with the bad side facing up. Okay, so if you've got a board that has some lines in it like mine does, you're going to put that on here face up. and we're going to slide that right up. Make sure that it's flush right here. Push it right up against the birdhouse, right up against the eave up here. And then we're just going to make a little mark on the outside, on the underside toward the outside of the house. Okay? Now, we're going to also draw a light line right along this edge on the house. Okay, so now we've got a line drawn right here on the house, the width of the board. We're now going to turn this board over, and we're going to put it right on that line. Okay, make sure it's perfect right on that line, and then we're going to make a little mark on the bottom of the house right there. Okay, now we want to transfer that little mark around the edge and onto the same side as the other piece is, or the other mark. Okay, once you've got both of those marks, then just like before, you take something that's got a nice straight edge and you just play connect the dots. Okay, and there's our angle. Okay, now we're probably not going to be able to use the miter box for this because that's the steeper angle of 45. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take that miter box out of there, and we're going to just put a piece of scrap. In this case, it's going to be a 2x4. I'm just going to lock that in there, and I'm going to put my piece right here, okay, on top of the scrap 2x4 that I've locked in the vise. I'm going to put that on there, and I can see my line. And I'm just going to take my little razor saw, and I'm going to put that razor saw right on that line, and really gently go back and forth until I get a groove, and then just very carefully saw all the way through that. You'll have to use your other hand to hold it in place. This gets a little bit tricky because you have to hold it pretty tight. Okay. And once you've got it all the way through, somebody bent my razor saw so it doesn't slide very well. Okay, once you've got that almost all the way through, you can snap it off the rest of the way, and now you end up with a nice 40, well, not quite a 45, a little steeper than a 45-degree angle. Now, if we've done things correctly, we move the house back over here. We should be able to get this to go right up in there and have it sit right flush with this and have the angle pretty much match the bottom of the house, which it does. Okay? Once you've accomplished that, you just, again, put some glue on there, make sure that everything is flush, and tape it down, just like we did before. Okay, put some tape, or put some glue on here, and we're going to slide that right up into place, making sure that it's flush, front and back. Again, if it sticks over the bottom, if you cut it a little bit too long, that's okay, sand it off and get it just right. Take some masking tape right here. Again, you just push down on it, pull down the front and tape it right over that front piece of molding. And just leave it there long enough for the glue to dry. Do that on all four corners going around the birdhouse, and you're pretty much going to be done with your moldings.